The murder trial for Alex Murdaugh is beginning in South Carolina as we speak with jury selection. He was seen arriving at the courthouse this morning. Murdaugh is a member of a prominent family that ran the Hampton County Prosecutor's Office for 80 years. He is charged with killing his wife, Maggie, and their 22-year-old son, Paul, in 2021. Murdaugh has denied the charges against him and has pled not guilty. Joining us this morning is attorney Rachel Fiset to talk more about the case, the evidence, and the challenges of seating a jury in this case. Rachel, thank you. What are some of the questions attorneys right now are asking potential jurors?
They have 900 potential jurors inside of that courthouse and around it and ready to be voir dired, which is the process of jury selection. And what the prosecutors and defense want to know is whether they can be impartial, if they can sit on this jury in this tiny little town and be impartial to an infamous family inside of that town that has both garnered tons of positive attention and has done wrong to so many people inside of that town as the charges have mounted through the last couple of years. So really what they are looking for is an unbiased jury, or each side is looking for one that, if they're going to be biased, hopefully it's in our favor.
Right? Because the concern is everybody knows about this case and the layers to it. They also know about the influence of this family dating back for generations. I'm curious why a change of venue wasn't asked for or granted.
I think that is bizarre, but what I actually think is going on is that both sides think that having it inside of this town is going to benefit them. So I think the prosecution thinks that they have done enough wrong inside of this town that there is a benefit to keeping it here. And the defense thinks that because of the long history inside the town and the famous parents and grandparents and all of the influence inside of the town, that they will also benefit. So to me, this is obvious where they need a change of venue, but they didn't do it. And I think it's because both sides believe that this will help them.
Well, and Rachel, what stands out to me is a lot, but the fact that the defense may take this even a step further and not only try to prove Alex innocent, but point the finger at someone completely different in this trial, a relative whose name has come up several times.
I think that they will try a lot of things, and there is a lot there to point the finger at. And there are so many crimes at play, and they are looking right now for the exact motive and the exact items that will speak to the jury. And I bet the case is a little bit of a moving target as the prosecution goes forward. So then the defense will pick from a bag of their defenses and decide where to go with each of the moves that the prosecution makes.
So you've got a boat accident in which Paul, the son who was killed, was driving the boat under the influence. A teenage girl died as a result of that accident. You've got another teenager from that county who was found dead in the middle of the road, somehow curiously linked to the family. We don't yet know how. And then you have charges of fraud and embezzlement, accusations that he has admitted to, Alex Murdaugh, of stealing from clients in his firm. Of those cases, does that cloud this trial? What is the judge going to be considering when he decides what is admissible?
The judge has to consider what is more probative than prejudicial, and that's the standard of what the judge will be considering. So when the defense is trying to bring in all of the other bad acts, they will also have to show how that is relevant to this case. And in showing how it's relevant to this case, if they're able to do that by meaning it's relevant to motive, or it's relevant to where he was, or it's relevant to some act that leads to this murder or any of the actions after the murder, then they will be able to bring it in because that evidence will be more probative than prejudicial. The prejudicial part will be the prosecution will be able to bring in that evidence. The defense will be arguing this is too bad for him. Once the jury hears these bad acts, they won't be able to unhear them. They'll only think of him as having these bad acts, and they have no relevance to this case at all. So the prosecution is trying to show relevance to all of the bad acts that he's done and tie them to this crime. And the defense is trying to unravel those bad acts from this crime. And they are going to be having that discussion over and over and over again as they attempt to bring in different evidence that would show the history of actions, financial crimes, all of the things that they might be proving led to the motive of why he may have killed his wife and son.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.